Hey guys, so this is Reki. This is just a little playthrough of a game called Iratus that I thought I'd do for friends so he could see what the game looked like. It's basically a roguelike, turn-based adventure. You explore a map. You are playing from God mode. Iratus is the god. He's a necromancer who is trying to take over the world. And he does that by... He starts undead, buried in the ground, and he tries to claw his way up into the real world where he can take over. And you do that by improving his abilities, by building buildings that improve the abilities of your own minions, by increasing his talents and spells that he can cast over time, by creating new undead armies and unlocking them, and you unlock them by doing certain things and using certain features. You can create potions that your minions can carry into battle. You can do alchemy to heal them, to generate new resources, to create new items. So there's a lot of meat to this game, and at the moment it's on sale on Steam. I picked the expansion up for the base game and its expansion's up for like $12, and I think the base game alone is $5. I don't know. I find I've been playing it on easy mode. I like to start everything on easy mode, and there's 4 modes to this game. There's like cakewalk, there's easy, standard, and some sort of like insane difficulty. And I like to start on the easiest mode because then I get 4 playthroughs. And honestly, I think this is a game that I will replay a lot just for fun anyways, because I really like the fact that you can have different complements of minions. Each of these groups of 4 is a different battle company, so you can have up to 4 battle companies. I actually have too many minions, so I've got a couple that I've stored here in the mausoleum healing up, and a couple that I've got permanently living at the arena, so they'll just continue to level up. You do lose minions, so having some backup minions, sorry, I mushed mouth, doesn't hurt you. Also, you're going to sacrifice minions or place them in some of these buildings to do certain things. So, for example, I've currently got a Banshee, a Mummy, a Shade, and a Lost Soul at this dead lake, and it increases the chance that Iratus will find artifacts. And artifacts can be equipped by Iratus to give your minions different benefits. So at the moment, I've got him wearing the Spirit Chainmail. After killing an enemy, the minion who dealt the killing blow receives a 2 vigor buff for the rest of the game, and this stacks up to 10 times. So this is a way to give your minions some free health. Here's one that's after killing an enemy, the minion who dealt the killing blow receives a 3% damage buff for the rest of the game, and it also stacks for 10 times. And then you've got things like the Ring of Purity, which removes all buffs from an enemy and then restores 5 mana for each buff removed. So this is one that'll show up in the menu during fighting, and you'll get to select it and use it. Maddening Amulet. Enemies may go insane if sanity is 85% or less. This is passive, so this will happen when you're fighting without you having to do anything. Strange Jar. This is a 1-use item. Most of these held artifacts that are in this consumables category, they're all, 1-use items, but they all have some pretty good benefits. They can give you access to spells. They can give you more vigor. This one gives you a brain. Brains are how you actually level your characters up. So if I take this level 11 Banshee here and I go to the brain tab, I can replace her level 11 brain with a level 21 brain, and immediately upon doing that, she'll get a certain number of points to spend on her traits and her abilities, and a certain number of points to spend on her stats to raise these different traits that she has. So it's a pretty comprehensive game, and it's a lot of fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the map, and then I'm going to take my number 1 group here, which consists of a werewolf, an abomination, a skeleton, and a dark knight. I'm going to take them out. You can zoom in and out of the map by using the mouse wheel. I'm on the 3rd level, which is the mercenary barracks, and the actual map is very vast. One of the things you want to know is you always select going upwards. So for example, if I come here and there's a battle and I do this battle, it will open up both of these branches. And if I go this way, I can no longer go back this way. If I go this way, you'll notice it goes up, and now suddenly I have closed off this and this because it ends beyond these. So you want to be aware that this game is very replayable because you can go in different directions on different maps and find different things. So I went up kind of this way, and this little push pin represents, or this little orb represents where my group currently is, and the next thing we've got up here is battle. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, and they'll walk up to that battle and we will start. And this is what it looks like, and apparently the thief is going to get to go first. So what we've got on the enemy side is a Dampier, a swordsman, a rogue, and a scout. At level 3, it's all your mercenary hero types coming in to try to fight the evil plague. And one of the things that I find funny, and you'll notice this if you go to my Steam profile, is that the heroes are not necessarily as heroic as you might think. The dwarves are really greedy and scientific and logical, and it's almost like at this point the hero side has evolved to the point of ego, greed, and all the bad things that eventually happen as people gain power, whereas the necromancer is actually just trying to fight for his life. So it's kind of a funny take on things. But that's what you've got. And then on this side, I have my Dark Knight, I have a skeleton, I have my abomination, and I have a werewolf. And each of these guys has some great abilities. So we're going to start with my werewolf. He's all the way in the back here. And one of my favorite things about the werewolf is they get this ability called Catch the Laggards. And it automatically does a 300% physical damage attack to whoever is in the back here. And you can tell what's going on by hovering over this icon. And the number of skulls on the left represent where the minion has to be in the battle line. So in this case, they're all lit up. The werewolf can be in any of these positions, and this ability will be available. On the right, the number of helmets represents where the enemy has to be in their battle line in order for the ability to affect them. So in this case, the laggard would be this scout at the back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this, and you can see what this ability is going to do. And it almost killed her in one hit, immediately taking an enemy out of the battle line. So then it's going to move on, and the next one available, the next one in initiative order is going to be lit up with this little sun. And you can also see the initiative order up here. So next is my Dark Knight, then my skeleton will go, my abomination will go, and then the Dampier on the other side is going to get a chance to go before my werewolf is going to go again. Down here on the first tab, you have some spells and special abilities that you can use. These two, I think, are almost always available. They basically move your minions left or right in the line. But you want to be careful because some abilities are going to do that automatically anyway. So when you hover over an ability, if there is an arrow, as there is here, with a number or just an arrow, it's going to indicate that your minion is going to move in a specific number and configuration of spaces upon using that ability. So in this case, if my Dark Knight was in the back 2 spaces of the battle line, they could use this all as dust ability, and it would automatically move them up to 3 spaces forward. If it doesn't have a number, usually it just indicates that they're going to move 1 space in whatever direction the arrow is pointing. So, you know, I often don't use these unless I need to move more than a couple of spaces, and let's say my abomination has an ability that moves him once, but I want to get him here. I might use this ability to move him once, and then his special ability to move him again to the front of the line while doing damage. It's fun, and it's an easy way to stack things. And we also have some special spells down here. I've got a heal going that I can cast when my guys have taken damage. I've got some stress damage that can be done to all of them. And you'll notice everybody has 2 bars. Your team does not because they're undead, but the humans all have 2 bars. You've got a health bar in the red and a stress bar in the purple. As the stress bar goes down, they are more likely to flee or go insane. If they go insane, they have equal chances to be inspired and do extra damage to you as they have of actually killing their own people. They might turn on their own people because they get frightened, or they might try to run away. Also, as this number goes down, they run the risk of having heart attacks and dying instantly. And a lot of your abilities can feed or fuel that. So there's 2 different ways you can attack using physical or stress damage, and you'll see those in the spells that Iratus can cast from his god mode. Also, we also have these spells. We've got a whip, which affects our minions and causes them to change in the line. We've got some haste that lets them all move faster. We've got some fate that lets the minions' next attack do critical damage, and so on and so forth. Some will give you boons. In the case of this one, which I'm going to cast here in a moment, this one, if one of these guys escapes, they come back to you as a vampire. So what I want to do is see if any of these guys has an effect that prevents them from fleeing. So this one gains 5 accuracy and 10 damage after moving. This one deals additional damage depending on the amount of vigor the target, which would be one of your people, is doing. This one gains accuracy and critical damage for 3 turns until he misses. And the Dampier has a 20% chance of insanity and gets a +6 against vampires. If she's alone, while insane, the battle ends and she joins Iratus. Well, let's kill her last then. I didn't know that. And this is how you sometimes pick up extra minions. I hadn't been able to figure out how to get Dampiers or vampires, and fighting, sometimes they just turn on their people, or sometimes you can quest to get them. Alright, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to have my knight cast No Tomorrow. It's a stance he adopts, and then every time an enemy receives a debuff, he gets an automatic attack until the next turn. So he can get more than 1 attack this way. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cast this Dismissive Banger from my skeleton. Skeletons are pretty basic, but they get multiple attacks and can be very powerful if the other team has a lot of buffs. So for example, for the moment, actually, I'll pass the debuff. I'll show you how this Vorpal Smite works. If I click this Vorpal Smite, he normally gets 2 attacks, but if I aim him at this guy who has a little green buff down here, he may get 3 or more attacks. Yep, he got 3 attacks. And the more buffs they have, the more attacks he will get. So for a pretty weak kind of character, he actually can be pretty awesome when included in your battle line. Now what I like about the Abomination is he has a buff and a debuff that affects everybody on screen. And if I've already got the Dark Knight into his No Tomorrow stance, then he's going to get a free attack when I cast this spell, which is Funeral March. So this Funeral March is going to buff all my people and debuff all theirs, and now my knight is going to get to attack everybody. So I love the way this game stacks your abilities, and you have different things you can do. Alright, so now let's go here. Let's catch the laggards on this girl again. Get rid of her, and she's gone. And that's the voice of Iratus that you're hearing in the background. And let's see, does anybody, he still has a buff, so let's send the skeleton up after him. And kill him. And what we need to do is reduce this one's sanity before we kill these guys. So what can we do here? We don't want to do that, we don't want to do that. Dark Offering removes our buffs. Oh, here we go. A stress attack. Does 20 to 22 damage to the first 3 people in line, and deals additional 9 to 10 damage for any buffs or debuffs. So let's just do this. We'll get her. Oh, she's warded. Okay, so that tells me what we're going to have to do is see if we can remove her wards. Do I have anything in a potion that'll do that? Negative 15, minus 15% damage. Target enemy deals minus 20% damage, 20% stamina loss or vigor loss, 20 plus 20 accuracy for your minions, a heal for your minions, so nothing in potions. 2 positions forward, haste, devour magic. Okay, so it looks like none of these is going to help with removing her. She's got a plus a 2 block here, so we need something that bypasses this block. Stress attack. I can instantly destroy an enemy if they have less than 20%. What have we got? That's a deflect that lets you protect someone else. Let's do this. I don't think it's going to kill him, but it'll help him go insane. And now she's in a stance. Alright, so we don't want to attack her directly until her stance ends. And we can't use Catch the Laggards. It's only good on space 4 until you upgrade it. And then it'll cover spaces 3 and 4, which is nice because that means you can then get whoever's at the end. But at the moment we can't do that, so the only thing we can do is buff everybody from this position, and that's going to move him 1 space forward. So let's do that. Alright, we can put him back in his stance. We can remove this resistance debuff off of him, which I think is a good idea. We can deal some stress damage to everyone, also not a bad idea. Let's remove the debuffs off of our guy first. Alright, what have we got? This is a stress attack, and this is also going to remove buffs. Let's use this on her. And as her stress goes up, her sanity is going to go down. This little red horror icon indicates that people are insane. And what we need to do is we need to increase our wrath because our abomination can't use Terrify and Swallow unless we have 65 wrath. Do we have a wrath potion? It doesn't look like we do. I usually like to carry a mana and a wrath ability, but I was in the process of testing some new abilities and I didn't actually pay attention to whether or not I had a wrath buff. Okay, so that means we're not going to be able to do this, but we can rebuff everybody temporarily. And I'm obviously not taking these guys out immediately because I am trying to show you guys how all the different buffs and debuffs and things work, but in this instance, it's not happening quite as quickly as it would normally. I would have probably taken these guys out. Alright, let's kill this one.
One by one, life vanishes from this world.
Alright, and this is another stress attack. We'll do this. That's gonna help. And she just went insane. Perfect. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to kill this guy. So we're just going to start pounding him. And I would prefer to use his attack if I can. But I don't know if he can do it from here. He can't. But he can do some stress damage. And he's dead from the heart attack. She is still alive. And so we just gained her as a minion. And that's how the game works. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and you know, if you have any questions, feel free to put them below. I have been playing this game steadily since I bought it yesterday. It's been almost 48 hours of play, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's been pretty long. I mean, it's taken me the better part of 2 days to get through the first 2 maps and 3/4 of the 3rd map, and I still have 2 maps after this, and who knows what happens once you reach the surface world. I don't know if you automatically succeed because you now have a vast undead army, or if you actually go into a second game mode. There is an expansion pack I picked up, and there is a supporter pack I picked up, which gave me a couple of extra minions. I believe the supporter pack gave me these guys down here. So the Infested, the Reaper, and the Abomination were part of the supporter pack, if I'm not mistaken. And you got a couple of extra things. So it's pretty neat. And you can customize your minions to some extent. You can, you know, go here and I think change their names and things. Here it is. So you can like switch what color skin they have, rename them. You can dismiss them, but I think you lose their parts and things. So it's pretty comprehensive, and I hope you guys give a look to it because I've been having a whole lot of fun with it. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.